In the vast savannas and bustling markets of Zamfara, life thrived under the benevolent rule of King Suleiman. The kingdom was known for its vibrant culture, rich traditions, and the unmatched wealth of its ruler. Zamfara was a land of storytellers, merchants, and warriors, each contributing to the colorful tapestry of the kingdom. King Suleiman was a man of great wisdom and kindness. He had dedicated his life to ensuring the prosperity of his people, and in return, they revered him. His palace, an architectural marvel, stood as a symbol of strength and generosity. It was within these grand walls that his only daughter, Princess Amina, lived a life of silent suffering. Princess Amina was unlike any other princess. She was known throughout the kingdom not for her grace or beauty, but for her perceived ugliness. Her features were stark and unconventional, her large eyes often startled those who met her gaze, her nose was pronounced, and her skin bore marks and blemishes that no amount of royal treatments could erase. The people of Zamfara whispered behind her back, and even her own reflection seemed to mock her at times. Despite her outward appearance, Amina possessed a heart of gold. She was kind, intelligent, and deeply compassionate, qualities that were often overlooked by those who judged her solely by her looks. Her father, King Suleiman, saw the true beauty in his daughter, but he was painfully aware of the challenges she faced. In the royal palace, Amina's days were filled with a mix of luxury and loneliness. She had access to the finest education, the most exquisite clothes, and the best food, yet none of these could fill the void of companionship and acceptance she so desperately craved. The palace was her gilded cage, and she longed for a life beyond its walls where she could be seen for who she truly was. King Suleiman, burdened by his daughter's plight, sought to find a suitor who would see beyond her appearance. He arranged for 3 noblemen to visit the palace, each lured by the promise of wealth and power. The first was a handsome prince from a neighboring kingdom, the second a renowned warrior, and the third a wealthy merchant. Each man, upon meeting Amina, could not hide their disappointment and quickly departed, leaving the princess heartbroken. The king's desperation grew with each passing day. He knew that Amina's chances of finding a genuine suitor were dwindling. In a last-ditch effort, he made a proclamation that echoed through the kingdom: any man who desired to marry Princess Amina would be gifted with riches beyond imagination. The promise of wealth stirred the interest of many, but when faced with the reality of marrying Amina, their greed quickly turned to revulsion. Unknown to all but King Suleiman, Amina's ugliness was the result of an ancient enchantment placed upon her at birth. An old seer had foretold that Amina would be the most beautiful woman in the land, but her true beauty would remain hidden until her wedding night. The man who married her would unlock this beauty and, in doing so, prove himself worthy of being the king. This secret weighed heavily on King Suleiman's heart. He longed for the day when a man with a kind and true heart would come forward, one who would see the inner beauty of his daughter and break the enchantment. He held on to this hope, believing that such a man existed somewhere in the kingdom. In a small, dilapidated cottage on the outskirts of the bustling city, lived a young man named Rowan. His family was the poorest in the village, struggling each day to make ends meet. Despite their hardships, Rowan's parents had instilled in him the values of kindness, honesty, and perseverance. He grew up helping his father in the fields and his mother in the market, always with a smile on his face. Rowan was often overlooked and rejected by the townspeople due to his family's poverty. He wore tattered clothes and his hands were callous from hard labor, but his spirit remained unbroken. His eyes, a deep shade of brown, held a warmth and sincerity that drew people in, even if they were reluctant to admit it. One day, while gathering firewood near the palace grounds, Rowan saw Princess Amina from a distance. She was standing by a window, looking out with a melancholic expression. Unlike others, Rowan did not see her as ugly. He saw a young woman burdened by loneliness and yearning for acceptance. Her eyes, though large, held a depth of emotion that spoke to his heart. Intrigued and moved by what he saw, Rowan decided to approach the palace. He knew the risks and the ridicule he might face, but something in his heart compelled him to seek out the princess. He felt a connection, a pull that he could not explain. With a mixture of fear and determination, he made his way to the grand gates of the palace and requested an audience with the king. Rowan's request for an audience with King Suleiman was met with skepticism by the palace guards. A poor villager wanting to meet the king was an unusual request, and they laughed at his audacity. However, Rowan's determination was unshakable. His heartfelt plea eventually reached the ears of one of the palace advisors, who decided to bring the matter to the king's attention. King Suleiman, though surprised by Rowan's appearance, was intrigued by the young man's sincerity. He agreed to meet Rowan, thinking that perhaps this was the moment he had been waiting for. Rowan was escorted into the grand hall, where the king sat upon his throne, surrounded by advisors and courtiers. The young man felt a mix of awe and nervousness as he approached the ruler. "Your Majesty," Rowan began, bowing deeply. "I come not for riches, but because I see something in Princess Amina that others do not. I see her heart, her kindness, and her strength. I wish to marry her." The room fell silent. The courtiers exchanged puzzled glances, and some even smirked, doubting Rowan's intentions. King Suleiman, however, looked into Rowan's eyes and saw a glimmer of hope. Could this humble villager be the one to unlock Amina's true beauty? "You speak with great conviction," the king said thoughtfully. "But words alone are not enough. To marry my daughter, you must prove that your intentions are true and your heart is pure." King Suleiman devised a series of tests to assess Rowan's character. The first test was a trial of bravery. Rowan was taken to the palace gardens, where he had to retrieve a rare and delicate flower that bloomed only in the most treacherous part of the royal grounds. The flower was guarded by venomous snakes and thorny bushes, a challenge that had deterred many. As Rowan entered the garden, the suspense was palpable. The courtiers watched from a distance, whispering among themselves. Rowan moved carefully, his eyes focused on the beautiful flower that lay ahead. With steady hands and a calm mind, he navigated the dangers, emerging with the flower unscathed. The courtiers were astonished, and King Suleiman was impressed by his bravery. The second test was one of wisdom. Rowan was brought to the royal library, where he was presented with a riddle that had confounded many scholars. He spent hours pondering the ancient texts, searching for clues. The tension grew as time passed, but Rowan remained focused. Finally, he found the answer, demonstrating his intellect and resourcefulness. The final test was the hardest, a trial of compassion. Rowan was taken to the village market, where he witnessed a scene of injustice. A poor woman was being accused of theft by a wealthy merchant. Rowan stepped in, defending the woman and revealing the truth. His act of kindness and fairness won the hearts of those who watched, proving that his compassion was genuine. King Suleiman, now convinced of Rowan's sincerity, welcomed him back to the palace. "You have passed my tests with honor," the king declared. "I believe you are worthy of my daughter's hand." The news of Rowan's success spread through the kingdom, causing a mixture of excitement and disbelief. Could it be that a poor villager had won the heart of the princess? The people were filled with anticipation as the wedding day approached. Rowan, filled with a sense of accomplishment and hope, stood before Princess Amina. She looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and gratitude, her heart fluttering with emotions she had never felt before. "Princess Amina," Rowan said softly, taking her hand. "I have seen your heart, your kindness, and your strength. I wish to marry you, not for riches, but because I believe we can find happiness together." Tears welled up in Amina's eyes as she nodded, unable to find the words to express her feelings. For the first time, someone saw her for who she truly was, and it filled her with hope. the kingdom buzzed with preparations for the grand wedding. The palace was adorned with flowers and banners, and the people of Zamfara state eagerly awaited the ceremony. However, doubts lingered in the air. Could Rowan truly love Amina despite her appearance? The suspense grew as the wedding day drew near. The day of the wedding arrived, and the grand hall of the palace was filled with guests. The air was thick with anticipation as the ceremony began. Rowan stood at the altar, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Amina, dressed in a simple yet elegant gown, walked down the aisle, her head held high despite the stares and whispers. The vows were exchanged, and the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. As Rowan lifted Amina's veil, a soft glow began to emanate from her. The hall fell silent, and all eyes were fixed on the couple. Slowly, the enchantment that had bound Amina's beauty began to fade away, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful woman. Her eyes sparkled like the finest jewels. Her skin glowed with a radiant light, and her features were perfectly symmetrical. Gasps of astonishment and murmurs of awe filled the room. The transformation was beyond anyone's wildest imagination. Rowan, however, remained composed. He had seen the beauty within Amina long before it was unveiled to the world. King Suleiman, his eyes filled with tears of joy, approached the newlyweds. "You have unlocked the true beauty of my daughter," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "And in doing so, you have proven yourself worthy of the throne." The townspeople, once filled with doubt and prejudice, now looked upon Rowan with admiration and respect. They had witnessed a love that transcended appearances and a courage that defied societal norms. Rowan and Amina's story became a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that true beauty lies within. Rowan, now the prince and future king, ruled the kingdom with kindness and wisdom. Amina, by his side, blossomed into a beloved queen, her inner and outer beauty shining brightly. Together, they brought prosperity and happiness to Zamfara, and their love story became legendary, a testament to the power of seeing with the heart rather than the eyes. Rowan and Amina's reign brought prosperity and happiness to Zamfara. Their love story became a legend, a symbol of true beauty and the power of seeing with the heart. Their enduring legacy was a reminder to all that true beauty lies within, and that love and compassion can overcome any obstacle. Rowan and Amina's reign brought prosperity and happiness to Zamfara. Their love story became a legend, a symbol of true beauty and the power of seeing with the heart. Their enduring legacy was a reminder to all that true beauty lies within, and that love and compassion can overcome any obstacle. The next chapters would delve deeper into their reign, the challenges they face as rulers, and the lasting impact of their love story on the kingdom of Zamfara.